Mosslight gathers along the post office windows after midnight, glowing green where the old stone's sill holds the rain. This is the quiet part of night that has finally made room for you. I am the night keeper. Tonight, the key fits the side door at the Mosslight post office. The soft brass key hangs on a worn leather cord, resting against my palm with the small warmth of something kept close for many evenings. It is not bright, it does not flash. It is simply ready, with its rounded teeth turned toward the door under the narrow awning. The lane is empty in the kindest way. No carts, no voices, no footsteps coming nearer. Only the slow tapping of rain on the roof edge, the green shine of moss between the stones, and one amber window where the post office keeps its own small weather. The building is low and narrow, with a slate roof, a wooden sign whose letters are softened by night, and little panes of glass divided by dark bars. Inside, lamps are already lowered. Their light touches shelves, cubbies, paper, and leather without waking any of them too much. Nothing here needs answering. Every message that belonged to the day has already found its place. The envelopes for tomorrow are blank and sleeping. The parcels are tied and settled. The counter is clean. The side door waits under its curve of moss. The key rests once more in my hand. Rain runs down the glass in slow, thin paths. The lane behind us grows softer. The post office stays warm ahead. The side door is painted a deep green that looks almost black where the awning shades it. Near the bottom, the paint is worn smooth by many quiet openings. A little moss has grown where the threshold meets the stone, not enough to enter, only enough to make the doorway seem rooted in the lane. The handle is round brass, soft at the center from old hands, and the lock is simple. The key turns once. The sound is small, more like a wooden bead touching the bottom of a bowl than a sound that needs attention. The door loosens in its frame. Warm air slips out first, smelling faintly of paper, dry wood, lamp oil, and the clean cloth that has been folded on the counter for morning. Inside, the floor is made of narrow boards. They hold a low shine from the lamps. A thin mat waits just beyond the threshold, dark green at the edges and faded in the center. The rain stays outside, where it belongs, tapping quietly on the awning and gathering along the gutter. The door opens only as far as it needs to open. There is no announcement, no bell, no sudden change from outside to inside. The night simply becomes warmer by one small room. The side entry is narrow. On one wall is a row of pegs, each empty. On the other is a shelf with 2 folded towels, a clay cup, and a shallow dish where drops from a coat might rest, if there were any coats tonight. But there are none, only the mat, the warm boards, the smell of paper asleep in wooden slots. The rain, made gentle by the door now behind us. And the post office, open for nothing except quiet. The first room is the sorting room. It is larger than the side entry, but still modest, built to hold useful things close together. A long table, a counter, rows of little wooden cubbies, a few high shelves, and 3 lamps with amber shades turned low. The ceiling slopes a little toward the back, where rain can be heard, on the roof more clearly. The table stands in the middle of the room. The table's in the middle of the room. Its surface has been worn, smooth by years of paper sliding across it. Tonight it holds only a few neat stacks of blank envelopes, a square of blotting paper, a small dish of paper clips, and one ruler with its markings turned away from the light. The envelopes are not addressed. They do not contain any news. They are only paper folded into a restful shape. The cubbies fill one wall from waist height to nearly the ceiling. Some are wide enough for parcels, some only for letters, but all of them are quiet. Their labels are too soft to read in the lowered light, and that is better. Names can sleep too. Places can sleep. Whole roots can fold themselves into shadow until morning. A leather satchel hangs on a hook beside the cubbies. Its strap has a curve where a shoulder once carried it, and its flap is closed by a dull brass buckle. Another satchel rests on a chair, empty enough to hold its shape without weight. They look like animals that have curled into themselves after a long walk, though they are only leather, stitches, and patient use. The lamps do not ask the room to brighten. They make a small circle on the table, a smaller circle on the counter, a line of warmth along the cubby edges. The rest of the room remains blue, brown, and still. The counter is lower than it first appears. From the front room in daylight, it may have seemed like a place for hands passing, letters, coins, parcels, and little questions. Tonight it has become a shelf of lamplight. The wooden edge is rounded. The grain runs in long dark lines, and along one corner there is a shallow mark where something heavy may once have rested for many years. A lamp sits near the center. Its shade is the color of honey thinned with water, and its light falls downward, leaving the ceiling in peace. Beneath it is a closed ink pad, a clean stamp with no need to be lifted, a folded cloth, and a small cup turned upside down. Nothing is waiting to be used. The objects have been given their places and allowed to stop. Behind the counter is an old brass grill, not severe, only delicate, narrow bars, little curves, and a sliding panel left open just enough to show the shelves beyond. The brass is not polished to a mirror. It has the dull glow of something cared for without being made too bright. A calendar made too bright. A calendar hangs on the wall, but its page is turned away from the lamp. No date is important here. No hour presses against the room. The rain takes care of time by softening it at the windows. It taps, pauses, taps again, and then becomes only a texture, like the faint pattern in the counter wood, or the seam in the folded cloth. If a thought arrives, the counter gives it a place to set itself down, beside the cup, near the closed ink pad, under the warm shade. Then the thought can become part of the room's order, neither lost nor held too tightly, simply resting where nothing asks to be finished. The blank envelopes are stacked in 3 small piles. One pile is cream, one is pale grey, one is a green so muted it almost belongs to the wood. Their corners are aligned without sharpness. The way objects align when someone has handled them slowly, rather than arranging them for display. Each envelope is empty. Each one has a fold, a flap, and a little pocket of space inside. That is all. No message waits there. No name, no place, no reply. The emptiness is not missing anything. It is the kind of emptiness that lets paper be paper and night be night. A smooth stone holds the corner of the cream stack. It may have come from the lane after rain, or from the shallow stream that runs behind the village gardens, or from a windowsill where it has sat for years. Its surface is grey and brown, with one thin white line crossing it like a quiet path. Under the lamp, it looks warmer than stone usually looks. The paper edges make the smallest sound. When the room breathes, not wind, not movement exactly. Ask nothing of fibers. In a room where the settling of fibers in a room where the air is dry and kind. There are stamps in a shallow tray nearby, but the pictures on them are too small and pale to matter. They might be leaves. They might be houses. They might be little squares of color that never need to become anything else. The envelopes can remain blank all night. Tomorrow, perhaps they will carry ordinary words. A note about a garden tool, a recipe, a pressed leaf, a thank you written in careful ink. But tonight they are pure quiet, paper folded around nothing, stackers resting under a stone, edges catching one thin line of amber light, the room holding them without hurry. The cubby wall is made of many small rooms. Each one is only a wooden box, open at the front, but together they make a village of shelves. Tall ones, narrow ones, square ones. Some deep in shadow, some touched by lamplight along their lower edges. The pattern repeats so steadily that the eye can move across it and grow quiet. A few cubbies hold envelopes. A few hold tied bundles of paper. One holds a parcel wrapped in brown paper, its string crossing in a simple knot. Another holds a folded cloth bag. Another is empty except for a thin fan of dust made golden by the lamp. The labels beneath the cubbies are present but unreadable in the low light. Small rectangles, pale ink, softened edges. They do not need to be known. The story is kinder when the labels stay turned toward sleep. The wood smells faintly of cedar and old paper. Some dividers are darker than others. Some have little nicks at the front where years of hands have slid letters in and out. None of the marks feels like damage. They are only proof that the room has been useful and that usefulness can rest. At the bottom of the wall, wider shelves hold flat trays. The trays are empty, stacked by size, their handles facing outward. On top of them lies a brush with soft bristles. The brush has gathered a few threads of paper dust, but it is laid down now, handle parallel to the shelf edge, as if even small tools have a way of sleeping. The cubbies repeat. Wood, shadow, envelope. Wood, shadow, parcel wood, shadow. Nothing at all. The repetition is slow enough to become almost like breathing. A room inside a room, inside a room. The post office is keeping every small space calm until morning. The leather satchels rest near the inner wall, One hangs from a peg, with its strap lowered in a long curve. The other sits on a plain chair, folded slightly into itself. Their leather is brown, but not one brown. Chestnut where the lamp reaches, dark walnut along the seams. Nearly black in the creases where years have made soft valleys. The buckles are dull brass. They catch enough light to show their shape, and no more. Each has a small tongue, a smooth frame, and little scratches that cross one another without pattern. The scratches do not tell a story tonight. They are only texture. A satchel is a carrying thing. But these carry nothing now. No routes, no lists, no errands. Only their own quiet weight. On the chair beneath the resting satchel, the woven seat has sagged a little in the center. The chair is sturdy, plain, and placed where it is useful, but beside it is a narrow umbrella. Stand with no umbrellas in it, only a folded walking stick and a drip tray dry at the bottom. The room seems to know the difference between readiness and work. Readiness can sleep. The satchels are ready and sleeping. Their straps, remember, shoulders without needing one. Their pockets remember paper without holding any. Their seams hold the shape of many days. Then let those days become part of the leather, softened by lamp warmth and rain sounds. If the eye needs somewhere to rest, it can rest on the curve of the strap. If the mind needs something simple, it can follow the stitching one slow inch at a time. A loop, a seam, a buckle, a flap, brown leather in amber light, and beyond it, the cubbies continuing their patient rows. The parcel shelf is broad and low. It runs beneath the back window, where rain makes the glass blur and lamplight turns the drops into thin gold lines. On the shelf are parcels already settled for the night. Some are wrapped in brown paper, some in cloth. One small parcel is tucked into a shallow wooden box, as if it likes having sides around it. There are no readable labels, only string, only folded corners, only paper smoothed by careful hands. A small scale sits at one end of the shelf. Its round face is turned slightly away, and its needle rests without purpose. The metal pan above it is empty, reflecting the lamp as a soft oval. No measuring is needed, no comparison, no deciding what belongs where. All of that has already gone quiet. The parcels vary in size. But none of them feels important in a way that pulls at the room. A long, thin one might hold knitting needles, or a rolled cloth, or nothing that needs naming. A square one might hold a teacup packed in straw. A soft cloth bundle may be only spare linens from one house to another. The possibilities can remain ordinary and low, never becoming a puzzle. The shelf itself is old pine. Along the front edge, the wood has been rubbed pale where parcels have passed across it. The paler line catches the lamp and makes a horizon inside the room. Paper above, shadow below, rain beyond. Under the shelf are baskets. Each basket is empty, or nearly empty. Their woven sides make gentle patterns on the floor. One basket holds a folded square of waxed cloth. Another holds a spool of twine. The twine end is tucked under itself, so it cannot unwind while the room rests. Everything that could roll has been stopped. Everything that could open has been folded. Everything that could wait is waiting softly. The window above the parcel shelf is divided into many small panes. Outside, rain slides over them slowly. It does not strike hard. It gathers, lengthens, bends around the old uneven glass, and joins another drop before continuing downward. Each pane has its own little weather. One pane is nearly clear. One is blurred by beads of water. One holds the reflection of the counter lamp so that the rain seems amber there. Beyond the window, the lane is only a soft darkness. A line of moss along the outer sill glows green where the light reaches through. The moss is thick in some places and fine as thread in others. It holds rain, the way cloth holds warmth, quietly, without asking to be noticed. The window makes the outside gentle. It keeps the cool air out. It keeps the wet stone out. It lets the sound in only after it has been softened by glass, wood, and distance. There is no need to see clearly beyond it. The blurred lane is enough. A suggestion of cobbles. A darker shape where the village well may stand. The low roof across the way, barely visible. A black line of chimney against the deeper blue. Inside, the reflection of the sorting room floats over all of it. Cubbies in the glass, lamp in the rain, parcels over the lane, paper shelves held together with moss and water. For a while, the whole post office seems doubled. One made of wood and paper, and one made of reflections on rain glass. The reflected one is thinner, softer, easier to lose. It drifts whenever a drop moves down the pane. You do not have to follow every drop. One is enough. It slides from the top of the pane to the middle, pauses where the glass is wavy, then joins another and becomes too heavy to stay. Down it goes, slowly, and the window remains warm. A small tea shelf is tucked into the corner beyond the counter. It is not a kitchen. It is only a kindness built into the room. A narrow shelf, a covered kettle, but 3 cups turned upside down and a tin whose faded lid has no words that can be read in the lamplight. The kettle rests on a safe warmer with a blue glass door, its heat low and steady. A very thin thread of steam rises, where the lid does not quite meet the spout. It fades almost at once. The cups are different from one another. One is white with a blue rim. One is brown clay. One is green and slightly uneven at the lip. They have been washed, dried, and set upside down on a folded cloth, so their interiors remain clean until morning. Beside the cups is a jar of mild tea leaves. The jar is closed. The spoon beside it is clean. No one needs to prepare anything now. The shelf only says that warmth could be made, if warmth were wanted. It is comforting because it is available, not because it has to become an event. On the wall above the shelf, a small square of cork holds 2 blank notes pinned with wooden tacks. The paper is unmarked. The tacks are round and pale. Even the place where notes might have been has been allowed to rest empty. The kettle gives a faint settling sound. Then, stillness. The warmer glows blue behind its little door. The cups keep their quiet positions. The tin remains closed. The tea shelf becomes another small room inside the room, made of ceramic, cloth, warmth, and possibility. It asks nothing. It offers nothing, loudly. It simply waits prepared and unneeded, which is sometimes the most restful kind of welcome. For a moment, the brass key rests on the old sorting table beside the leather cord. It lies near the blank envelopes, not touching them, making a small crescent of shadow on the wood. The cord curls once beside it, dark against the table, worn smooth where it has passed through fingers many times. The key has done its opening for now, and even the key may rest. The table receives it without ceremony. Wood receives metal, paper receives lamplight. The room receives silence. This is one of the small habits of the Mosslight post office. Everything that has served the night is given a place to pause. Grode, the brush rests on the shelf. The stamp rests on the counter. The scale rests with its pan empty. The satchels rest by the wall. The key rests where its warm brass can dim a little before it is lifted again. Rain continues at the glass, but it has become part of the furniture by now. A chair leg, a shelf edge, a soft sound at the window. The long table shows rings from cups and pale marks from paper stacks. It has held many useful things, and tonight it holds only the simplest. Envelopes, a stone, a square of cloth, and that small brass shape on its cord. Nothing about the key suggests another task. It is only a familiar object pausing under a lamp. The leather cord makes a loop like a sleeping path. The key teeth point toward the cubbies. The bow of the key catches one amber dot of light, then lets it go when the flame settles. In the stillness, after that little change, the post office feels even more at ease, as if the building has exhaled and found every part of itself in place. Beyond the sorting room is a short passage to the back room. The passage is hardly a hallway. It is only a few steps of worn floorboards, a low shelf, and a door painted the same green as the side entrance, though this one is lighter where lamplight reaches it. The passage smells of dry paper at first, then cloth, then the faint cedar scent of an old cupboard. On the low shelf are folded cloths used for simple things. Wrapping, dusting, covering a tray, lining a basket. They are folded in squares, each one a scand, with a softened edge. Some are linen, some cotton, one a worn piece of wool. Their colors are almost not colors at all. Oatmeal, smoke grey, pale moss, a washed blue that looks like morning before it arrives. A narrow broom leans in the corner. Its bristles are tied with twine and turned toward the wall. It has already finished its sweeping. The floor is clean enough. A few tiny specks of paper dust remain near the baseboard, but they belong there tonight. A room can be clean without being emptied of every sign that it has lived. The inner door stands slightly open. No light pours through it, only a dimmer warmth. The back room is not a new chapter in any bright sense. It is a softer layer behind the first room, where supplies are kept, where coats might hang in daytime, where a small chair may wait for someone to sit during a rain shower. The passage invites one slow step. then another. Behind us, the sorting room stays exactly as it was. Lamp on counter, cubbies in rows, satchels at rest, rain at the window. Ahead, the back room receives the quiet and makes it deeper. The back room has a supply cabinet built into one wall. Its doors are plain wood, with little round knobs that have darkened from use. One upper door is open, showing shelves with string, waxed paper, folded cloth, and a few empty boxes nested inside one another. Nothing is crowded. Each object has a little air around it. The lower drawers are shallow. One drawer holds spare pencils laid in a row, their points covered. One holds rolls of twine, the ends tucked neatly under the loops. One holds small envelope of different sizes, all blank, all sleeping. The drawer handles are brass, but their shine is low and worn, more brown than gold. A square of lamplight falls from the passage across the cabinet and stops before it reaches the floor. The rest of the room is dimmer, not dark, only willing to let. Details become quiet at the edges. There is a little stool beside the cabinet. Its seat is round and its legs are scuffed. A folded apron rests on it, tied loosely around itself. The apron has two pockets. Both are empty. A loose thread hangs from one pocket and curves toward the floor, too light to pull the fabric out of shape. This is a room of spare things, not excess, not clutter, only gentle readiness. If a parcel needs paper, paper is here. If string is needed, string is here. If a cloth is needed for the counter in the morning, cloth is here. Until then, everything stays in the cabinet, held by wood and lamp shadow. The open door makes no complaint. The drawers remain closed. The empty boxes nest into one another, like cups. The whole cabinet seems to be listening to the rain through the wall, though, of course, it is only standing there, patient as old furniture can be. The brass key turns once more in a small cabinet set beside the backroom shelf. This cabinet is not hidden. It is simply small, with a little brass plate and a door no wider than a book. The key fits because the post office has many quiet thresholds, and some of them are only for keeping delicate things away from dust. The turn is soft. The cabinet opens. Inside are rolls of ribbon, spare cord, a packet of waxed paper, and a shallow wooden tray. The tray holds blank slips, with their faces turned down so no words appear. Beside them rests a small linen pouch closed by a drawstring. Nothing secret is revealed. Nothing important changes. The opening only adds another layer of order to the night. Rem in rolls, cord in loops, paper in a packet, blank slips turned downward. The cabinet smells faintly of cedar and starch. The inner shelves are lighter than the outer wood, protected from years of air and hands. When the door opens, their pale surface catches the lamp and seems briefly warmer than the rest of the room. The key remains in the lock, while the cabinet breathes open. Then the pouch is left untouched. The tray stays where it is, and the door is eased closed again. The key turns back without effort. The small brass plate goes still. This is enough movement for a long while. Oput, notice, close. Let the room return. The supply cabinet stands beside it. The stool waits with its folded apron. The shelf keeps its cloths. The rain travels behind the wall, in soft taps and smoother runs. The key settles back against the cord. The cabinet is closed, but not in a final way. Simply in a sleeping way, with its ribbons and paper resting inside until some ordinary morning asks for them. Near the back window is a resting chair. It is not grand. Cubbies, it is a wooden chair with curved arms, a woven seat, and a cushion covered in plain brown cloth. Over one arm lies a folded wool shawl, green at the center and grey near the edges where the color has softened from washing. The chair faces the window, but not directly. It is turned a little toward the room, as if it belongs equally to the rain outside and the warmth inside. Beneath it is a small round rug made from braided fabric. The colors circle inward slowly. Muted blue, oat, moss, smoke, then blue again. A side table holds nothing but a closed book and a small lamp. The book has no title visible. Its cover is cloth, worn at the corners. It may be an old record of village parcels, or a book of household notes, or only a blank notebook waiting for a future day. Tonight, closed is enough. The lamp is turned very low. Its light shows the shawl's weave, the edge of the cushion, and one rounded arm of the chair. The other arm is in shadow, but the shadow is soft. Full side, full of the same warmth as the lit side. The back window looks onto a small courtyard. Rain has darkened the stones. A mossy wall holds two clay pots. In one pot, a fern bends under its own damp leaves. In the other, nothing grows except a little velvet of moss across the soil. The courtyard does not draw the story outward. It stays just beyond the glass, a quiet picture of wet stone and small green things. Inside, the chair waits for no one in particular. It is restful because it does not need to be occupied. The shawl can stay folded. The book can stay closed. The round rug can keep circling inward under the chair, slowly, without ever arriving at anything brighter than its own muted center. The courtyard behind the post office is small enough to feel almost like another room. Its floor is stone. Its walls are stone. Moss grows in the seams, darker where the rain has gathered, and lighter where the lamp from inside reaches through the window. The courtyard has no path leading away that needs to be followed. It is a square of night held safely behind glass. A shallow stone basin sits near the wall. Rainwater has gathered in it, smooth except when a drop falls from the roof edge. Each drop makes one round ring, then the ring widens, thins, and disappears against the basin's edge. A few fern leaves lean over the water, but do not touch it. The window glass reflects the back room, chair, lamp, shawl, cabinet, shelf, folded cloth. The reflection sits over the courtyard, so that the outside stones seem to hold the inside furniture lightly. For a moment, the chair appears to rest under the rain, and the fern appears to grow from the edge of the supply cabinet. The eye can accept this without correcting it. Night often layers things kindly, inside over outside. Lamp over rain, moss over, stone moss over water. The post office does not become strange by having two rooms in the glass. It becomes softer, less exact, more willing to let the mind drift from one surface to another. The basin receives another drop. The ring grows. The lamp reflection bends. Then the water is smooth again. Nothing has been interrupted. The chair remains behind us. The cabinet remains beside us. The courtyard remains outside, green and stone, and held by rain. Each one is steady enough that attention may leave and return without needing to find its place. The window keeps them together until the room grows quieter still. A narrow stair rises from the back room to the small upstairs rest room. It begins behind a curtain made of heavy linen. Not to conceal anything, only to soften the draught between floors. The curtain is drawn halfway aside. Its lower edge rests just above the floorboards, and its weave catches the back room lamp in tiny warm threads. The stair itself is shallow and old. Each step is broad enough for an unhurried foot. The wood at the center of each tread is smoother than the wood near the wall. A simple rail follows the stair upward, polished by use until it feels almost silky under the hand. There are wall lamps set low along the ascent. Not many. Only enough to show where the steps are. Their light is amber and small, enclosed behind cloudy glass. Between the lamps, the wall is painted a muted cream, but in the low light it becomes the color of warm paper. A few framed cards hang there, each one too dim to read, their images softened into rectangles of leaf, hill, and window. The sorting room is below now. Its sounds rise gently. Rain, wood, the smallest settling of shelves. The back room adds its own quiet. Cloth, cabinet, the faint warmth of the little tea shelf. Together, they make a floor of sound beneath the stair. The upper landing is visible as a darker square at the top. A folded runner lies across it. A lamp waits on a little wall bracket. The stair does not hurry toward the landing. It simply offers one step, then another, each one close to the last. The body understands such stairs. The mind does not have to plan them. Upward, softly, hand on rail, lamp after lamp. The post office, below becoming a warmer and quieter shape. The upstairs landing is no larger than a small rug. It has a round window at one end, a cupboard at the other, and a door standing open to the restroom. The ceiling slopes here. The walls lean inward slightly, not in a pressing way, but in the sheltered way of rooms tucked under a roof. The round window is clouded by rain. Through it, the lane below is only a soft, dark shape, and the amber window of the sorting room appears as a small, warm blur. The glass makes everything outside farther away and kinder. The moss on the roof edge is visible in a green line just beneath the sill. A runner covers the landing floor. Its pattern is simple. 3 narrow stripes, one grey, one green, one faded blue. The woven edges are a little uneven. Anyone. At one corner, a thread has lifted and curled into a tiny loop. The loop makes the rug feel more real and less like something that has to remain perfect. The cupboard door is closed. On its knob hangs a soft cloth bag. empty enough to fold flat against the wood. Above it, a little lantern rests in a wall bracket. The lantern's glass is pale, amber, and its light does not fill the landing so much as place a warm center within it. The open door to the rest room shows a bed, or perhaps a long couch made for lying down after a late shift. A blanket is folded at the foot. A pillow waits near the wall. A low table holds a cup of water and a single folded napkin. The landing pauses before entering. It lets the stair end. It lets the room below become memory. It lets the rest room offer itself without asking to be reached quickly. The upstairs rest room is simple and warm. It is not a bedroom in a grand sense. It is a place prepared for anyone who might need to rest, while rain keeps the village small. A low bed stands beneath the sloped ceiling. The blanket at its foot is folded in thirds, heavy enough to have weight, soft enough to look used. The pillow is plain white. Beside it, the wall is panelled in old wood, halfway up, then painted above in the colour of milk, warmed by lamplight. A small window is covered by curtains of green cloth. The curtains are closed, but not tightly. Benissa. A little line of moon-blue rainlight shows between them. A lantern sits on the table. Its wick is low. The flame is small and steady inside cloudy glass. Beside it is a cup of water, a folded napkin, and a smooth wooden box with nothing on top. The box is closed. The door. It does not invite opening. It only makes the table feel complete. The floor is covered by 2 rugs, one beside the bed, one near the door. Their edges do not quite line up, and that is pleasant. The room is cared for, not staged. It has the calm of a place used rarely, but kept ready by habit. The air smells faintly of clean cotton, old wood, and rain, cooled by roof tiles. Below, the post office remains present as a muffled warmth. Cubbies, counter, parcels, satchels, and blank envelopes are all somewhere under the floor in their own lowered light. Up here, those details become simpler. Paper below, blanket above, rain outside, lantern near the bed. The room holds the end of the route without closing the story. There is room enough to lie down. There is also room enough just to be still. The folded blankets. The folded blanks are stacked on a chair near the foot of the bed. There are 3 of them. The top one is grey with a faint green stripe. The middle one is the colour of warm oatmeal. The bottom one is dark blue, almost the same shade as the window line between the curtains. Their edges face outward, folded cleanly, but not sharply. Wool has a way of holding quiet. It does not shine. It does not call attention. It receives light and softens it. The top blanket has little raised threads along the hem. The middle one has a mended place near one corner, so carefully done that the repair has become part of the pattern. The blue one is heavier than the others. Its folded weight makes the stack lean slightly toward the chair back. The chair itself is narrow, with a carved rail and a seat woven from strips of cloth. It stands close enough to the bed that a hand could reach the blankets without getting up very far. But the story does not require anyone to take one. Availability is enough. Warmth waits better when it is not insisted upon. On the floor below the chair, a small pair of slippers sits side by side. They are made of soft felt, with flat soles, and no decoration except a single line of stitching around each opening. The toes point toward the bed, the heels rest on the rug. They look as if they have already learned how to be quiet. The lantern's light reaches the blanket stack from the side. It warms one edge and leaves the other in shade. Green stripe, mended, corner, blue fold, soft slippers below. The objects become a small pattern for the eyes, something to follow once and then release. Nothing needs unfolding tonight, but if more warmth were needed, it would be within reach. The curtains are green, but in the upper room they seem almost silver. They hang from a simple wooden rod above the small window. Each panel falls in slow folds, and where the folds overlap, the color deepens into shadow. Down the center is a narrow line where the curtains do not quite meet. Through it comes a thread of blue rain light from outside. The line is not bright. It is only enough to remind the room that the world continues softly beyond the glass. Rain moves on the roof tiles above. Then, along the gutter, asked nothing from anyone. Then down the wall in hidden paths. The sound comes through the curtains already softened, less like weather and more like the room thinking to itself. The lantern reflects faintly in the window behind the cloth, a blurred amber oval, a smaller pale line, the curve of the table, almost lost. The curtains make the reflection difficult to separate from the outside. That is all right. At this hour, separation is not necessary. Lamp and rain can share the same pain. Room and lane can meet as muted colors. The body can know only that it is warm here and cool out there, and both are held kindly. And both are held kindly. A small movement passes through the fabric, perhaps the house settling, perhaps the air changing near the stair. The folds shift less than a finger's width, then return. The line of blue remains. The amber reflection remains. The curtain rod holds its quiet arc above them. The closed curtains do not shut the night away. They turn it down, like a lamp turned lower, like a voice becoming softer, like letter placed face down until tomorrow. The room grows simpler behind them. Bed, blanket, table, lantern, cup. Then, even those words begin to lose their edges. Near the upstairs lantern, the brass key glints, once in low amber light. It is only a small glimmer, seen near the edge of the landing, as the leather cord is gathered gently into the night keeper's hand. The key is not opening anything now. It is returning to its place after helping the night become warmer by one door, one cabinet, one cabinet, and one remembered threshold. The light touches the rounded bow, then the teeth, then the cord. Then it is only a darker shape against the sleeve of the night. Below, the post office keeps all its rooms in order. The side door rests in its frame. The sorting table holds the blank envelopes. The back room cabinet is closed. The parcel shelf remains under rain glass. The satchels rest beside the cubbies, carrying nothing but the softness of use. Upstairs, The rest room does not need the key. It has already opened itself by being prepared. The bed is visible through the doorway. The folded blankets are on the chair. The curtains hold their blue line. The cup of water waits on the table, and the lantern makes a small circle beside it. The key's glimmer fades. It is not dramatic. It does not mark a turn in the story. It is only the return of a familiar object. The way a spoon returns to a saucer or a folded towel returns to a shelf. Something useful has become quiet anyone. The night keeper has become quiet again. Steps no farther into the room than the doorway. The story belongs to the room now, to the blankets, to the rain, to the warm paper scent rising faintly from below. The key rests against the cord. The lantern lowers its light. The landing grows still enough that even the small glimmer seems to have been part of a dream, already softened, already fading into the wood and cloth around it. The bed under the roof is low and narrow. The bed under the roof narrow. It is tucked where the ceiling slopes down, leaving a sheltered space above the pillow. The quilt is pulled smooth but not tight. Its colors are mild, gray, green, cream, and a little muted blue along the stitched edge. The pillow holds a shallow dent, not from any particular head tonight, but from softness itself. The roof rain is gentler here. Upstairs, it does not sound like drops on glass. It sounds like distance. A fine patter above the tiles. A faint running in the gutter. A softened pause whenever the rain thins. Then a return so gradual that it never feels like a new sound. The small table beside the bed has rounded corners. The cup of water on it is clear and still. It reflects the lantern as a little golden oval near the rim. The folded napkin lies beside it, square and pale. The wooden box remains closed, its lid fitting cleanly. Its purpose unimportant. There is a hook on the wall with nothing hanging from it. There is a shelf with one folded cloth. There is a small rug where bare feet might rest, but no feet need to touch it now. Everything in the room has been made ready and then allowed to stop. That is the rhythm of this place. Reedy, still reedy. Still, the bed does not promise anything grand. It only offers the ordinary kindness of horizontal quiet. A pillow under the roof, a blanket near the knees, rain above, wood around, and warm air held in a room small enough for the mind to loosen. Below the floor, the post office remains warm. Above the ceiling, rain moves over tiles. Between the bed, waits without impatience. From the upstairs room, the post office below becomes less like a set of rooms and more like a soft arrangement of warmth. The sorting table is there, but not sharply. It is a long amber shape under a lamp. The cubbies are there, but their rows have become a pattern rather than separate boxes. The parcels rest under the window. The counter holds its closed ink pad and cup. The tea shelf glows faintly in its corner. All of it continues without needing attention. This is a restful kind of continuity. The rooms do not vanish when the eyes leave them. But the blank envelopes remain blank. The satchels remain empty. The small cabinet keeps its ribbon and cord. The courtyard basin receives rain rings outside the back window. Whether anyone looks down from the landing or not, a building can keep its own quiet. It can hold paper below and blankets above. It can hold rain outside and lamplight inside. It can hold a side door, a counter, a back room, a stair, a landing, and a bed, all in one slow breath. The mind does not have to visit each part again. It may let them overlap, cubbies beside curtains, pet, cut, shelf beside pillow, rain glass beside water cup, rain's glass beside water cup, leather satchels beside folded wool. The arrangement does not have to be exact. Sleep often begins when rooms stop insisting on their correct order and become a feeling instead. Warm wood, soft paper, muted green cloth, amber light, rain on stone. The post office below settles more deeply into itself. A board gives a faint sound somewhere under the floor. Then, the sound is gone before it can become anything that needs naming. The upper room remains still. The bed remains low. The lamp remains small. The whole building seems to be holding the night in cupped hands, carefully enough that nothing spills. Outside the post office, the village lane has grown very soft. It is mostly hidden from the upstairs room, but the rain glass and the round landing window have already shown enough. Cobblestones dark with rain, moss between them, low roofs leaning close, a stone wall with fern leaves along the top. The faint shape of a village well, its roof making a darker triangle against the blue night. No one needs to cross the lane now. No footsteps come, no wheels pass, no voice lifts from another doorway. The lane is complete. In its emptiness, it holds the outside of the post office, the way the post office holds the inside of the night. The warm windows glow not to invite business, not to signal anything, but to keep the building gentle from within, but to keep the building from, if seen from the lane, the post office would be small, a side door under an awning, a front window with amber light, a back wall with moss at the stones, a roof darkened by rain. From inside it feels larger because every room has been entered slowly. The sorting room has room for a whole night's worth of quiet. The back room has room for shelves and cloth and a chair. The upstairs room has room for the feeling that nothing else needs to happen. The lane outside can remain a softened picture. It does not have to lead anywhere. It does not have to introduce another house, another shop, another lamp. It may simply be wet stone and mosslight, resting outside the window while the post office keeps its warmth. Rain blurs the village into color. Green moss, blue night, amber glass, darks, stone. The colors are enough. They fold into one another until the lane becomes less a place to walk and more a cool border around the warm room. There are letters in the post office, but none of them need reading. But none of them need envelopes. Some are only blank envelopes. Some are tied in bundles with their faces turned down. Some rest in cubbies, where the labels are softened by distance and lamplight. They are not clues. They are not requests. They are folded paper, keeping its own small shape. A letter can be restful when it is allowed to remain unread. It becomes texture, paper edge, soft corner, thin shadow under a flap. A bundle tied with string, becomes a gentle object, no different from a folded cloth or a stack of towels. The mind can let go of what might be inside because the story has already told. The room. Nothing urgent, nothing waiting for action, nothing that belongs to waking thought. On the counter, the closed notebook lies near the lamp. Its pages are not visible. Its cover is plain. The pencil beside it points toward the wall, not toward a hand. The notebook may hold records from other days, or it may hold nothing at all. Tonight, it is only a rectangle in a pool of amber light. The envelopes below it are quiet. The bundles in the cubbies are quiet. The parcel shelf is quiet. The back room's blank slips are quiet. Even the old sign above the front counter has its letters blurred by shadow, so it can become wood, paint, and memory instead of words. Arad. This is how the post office remove effort from paper. It lets paper be seen without being understood. It lets messages become shapes. It lets messages become shapes. It lets the whole idea of answering drift away. In the upstairs room, where the rain is softer and the lamp is lower, the thought of unread letters becomes as mild as the thought of leaves pressed between pages, something once carried, something now resting, something that can wait without becoming a question. The lamps seem lower now. No hand turns them. The post office simply becomes more accustomed to the night, and the night becomes more familiar with the post office. The amber circles soften at their edges. Shadows widen, not to hide anything, but to let details become less separate from one another. In the sorting room, the counter lamp still glows. It shows the cup, the clothes, the quap, pad, ink pad, and a little of the wooden edge. The rest of the counter becomes a warm light. The cubbies become squares of blue-brown shadow. The satchels are only darker shapes near the wall. In the back room, the small lamp near the chair makes the folded shawl almost the same color as the cushion. Sofa supply cabinet loses its knobs to shadow. The courtyard window becomes a rectangle of softened rain. On the stair, the little wall lamps hold just enough light on the rail. The steps are there, but they no longer ask to be climbed. They have become part of the path already taken. Upstairs, the bedside lantern is the clearest light. Left, it is still small, a warm bead in cloudy glass, a glow on the water cup, a pale edge along the folded napkin. Everything else loosens. This kind of dimming is not disappearance. It is rest given to surfaces. The table can stop being a table and become warmth. The envelopes can stop being envelopes and become paper light. The wall can stop being a boundary and become a quiet color behind the pillow. The lamps lower by becoming less important. The rain lowers by becoming steady. The room lowers by asking for less seeing. And the story lowers with them, scene by scene, until there is almost nothing left to follow, except warmth, rain, and the small amber bead beside the bed. Before the story grows too small, the front window offers one more quiet view. It is larger than the back window and divided into tall panes, each one slightly wavy from age. From inside, the village lane appears lower than it did from the side door. as if the whole outside world has settled down near the wet stones. The lamp behind the counter reflects in the glass, and its amber shape floats over the dark lane. The window sill is broad. On it rests a shallow tray, with 3 smooth stones, a folded cloth, and a tiny pot of moss brought in from the courtyard long ago. The moss in the pot is not bright. It is a deep green cushion, damp enough to hold the lamplight along its upper edge. Beside it, the stones make a small grey row. No sign in the window needs reading. The letters, if there are any, are turned away or softened by rain. The window is not speaking to the lane tonight. It is only holding warmth in one direction and coolness in the other, making a calm border between lamp and rain. The counter below is empty. The polished wood shows one oval reflection from the lamp. Near the edge is a closed drawer with a small brass pull. The pull is still. The drawer is still. The tray on the sill is still. Outside, a drop slides down the far pane. Inside, the moss in the little pot does nothing at all. The contrast is restful. Water moving slowly, moss remaining soft, light floating on glass. A lane that has no need to be crossed. The front window becomes another quiet shelf in the building, holding the night where it can be seen without being entered. One shallow drawer in the sorting room is open just a little. It holds string, not tangled string, not string waiting to be used, only small coils and loops arranged with the loose order of a careful room. Some are pale cotton, some are brown twine. One is a faded green cord wound around a flat piece of cardboard. The ends are tucked under themselves so they cannot wander. A pair of small scissors lies at the back of the drawer. The blades are closed and turned away. Their handles are dark, rounded, and worn smooth. They do not gleam sharply. They are simply arty, another tool resting after usefulness, held safely by the wooden sides of the drawer. There are also 2 paper sleeves, empty now, and a little square of beeswax wrapped in cloth. The wax has no scent unless one comes very close. It keeps its yellow color mostly to itself, softened by the drawer's shadow. The open drawer makes the table feel even quieter. Threckers usually suggest looking for something, but this one does the opposite. It shows that what might be needed has already been found, sorted, and placed. There is no searching in it, only the calm satisfaction of a small interior space making sense. The front edge of the drawer casts a narrow shadow on the cabinet below. The shadow is straight, then softened by lamplight. The string coils make circles. The scissors make a dark oval. The wax makes a pale square under cloth. Gestures, not tasks. The drawer can remain open a little longer. Nothing will fall out. Nothing will be forgotten. The room will remember to close it when closing becomes part of rest, and until then the string can sleep in loops. The scissors can stay closed, the scissors can stay closed, and the wood can hold its small, useful darkness. Above the upstairs bed, the roof beams cross the ceiling in dark, quiet lines. They are old beams, not perfectly straight, and their unevenness makes the room kinder. One dips slightly near the wall. Another has a knot shaped like a small closed eye. The plaster between them is warm in the lantern light and cool near the window, where the rain-blue line between the curtains reaches upward. The beams do not move, they simply hold. They hold the roof tiles above the rain. They hold the little room beneath the roof. They hold the lantern in long, soft bands, so the ceiling is not empty and not busy. The eye can follow one beam from the wall to the center of the room, then let it disappear into darker wood. There is a faint scent of timber here, dry, old, and mild, mixed with cotton, rain, paper, and the smallest trace of lamp oil from downstairs. A building has layers of scent, just as it has layers of room. Stone at the step, paper in the sorting room, leather near the cubbies, cloth in the back room, wool upstairs, wood above the pillow, rain over everything, softened before it reaches the air inside. The roof beams gather those layers without naming them. They make the room feel held from above, not closed in, only sheltered. The lantern glow touches the nearest beam and reveals in glowing lines in the grain, each one slow and wavy. A person could follow those lines for a while or not. They are there either way. The rain continues beyond the tiles. The plaster stays warm. The beams remain across the ceiling, long and patient, making a low wooden sky above the quiet bed. On the landing cupboard, a small tray of moss has been kept near the round window. It is a shallow clay tray, wide enough for both hands, filled with a little soil, 3 pebbles, and several kinds of moss gathered into one soft miniature hill. A tiny fern frond bends from one side. It is no longer than a finger, but it casts a delicate shadow when the lantern reaches it. The moss is the quietest green in the building. Greener than the door, greener than the curtain, greener than the stripe on the runner. It holds a memory of the stone step outside, where rain darkens the seams and the side door keeps its warm edge. It also belongs indoors. It also belongs indoors now, placed on the cupboard, so the upstairs room can have one small piece of the lane without the cool air. There is no need to touch it. The tray keeps its own dampness. The pebbles keep own dampness. The pebbles keep their own weight. The little fern keeps its curved shape. Together, they make a quiet island on the cupboard top, a soft green thought held above the stair. The round window behind it blurs the lane, moss inside, moss outside, rain between them, lamp over both. This is the kind of repetition sleep understands. Not exact repetition, but echo. The same green returning in a smaller form. The same rain held first by stone, then by glass, then by a tray. The same softness moving from outside to inside, until it no longer matters where the lane ends and the room begins. The tray remains on the cupboard. The fern does not lift. The moss does not brighten or dim. It simply stays, deep and low and soft, keeping a little patch of mosslight on the landing. A narrow shelf near the upstairs door holds a few plain cups. They are not part of a set. One is white and thick. One is grey with a small blue line. One is brown clay, lighter at the rim where fingers have lifted it many times. They sit upside down on a clean cloth, spaced far enough apart that each cup has its own small circle of shadow. Below them is an empty tray. The tray is wooden, with low sides and 2 rounded handles. Its surface shows faint rings from cups that have rested there before. The rings are pale and uneven. They do not feel like marks to be removed. They feel like a quiet history from anyone. They feel like a quiet history of warmed up the stair and carried down again in the morning. The shelf is placed at the right height for a hand, but no hand reaches for it now. The cups can stay upside down. The tray can stay empty. The cloth can keep its folded edge. A little lamp from the landing touches the grey cup first, then the white one, then the rim of the brown one. The light does not make them bright. It is laced. It only gives each cup a soft outline, enough for the room to know where they are. There is comfort in unused cups. They mean water could be poured, tea could be carried. A person could wake in the night and find something simple waiting, but none of that has to happen. The possibility is enough, and because it is enough, the shelf remains quiet. The cups make no sound. The tray holds no weight. The cloth receives the lamp. The upstairs room, already small and warm, becomes a little more prepared, then a little more still. The route through the Mosslight post office can fold back now. It does not need to be walked in reverse. The building can remember it. The side door under the awning, the mat just inside, the sorting table with its blank envelopes, the cubby wall, shelf after shelf, holding small rooms of shadow, the leather satchels near the wall, the parcel shelf beneath the rain glass, then the tea shelf, then the back room, then the cabinet of spare things, then the resting chair, and the courtyard window, then the curtain, before the narrow stair, then the stair lamps, one after another, then the landing, the round window, the open door, the bed under the roof. The order can stay in the building. You do not have to hold it. A place that has been entered slowly becomes kind enough to carry its own map. The mind may leave one room without losing it. The room remains. The chair remains. The parcels remain. The blank envelopes remain blank. The lamps remain low. The route folds like cloth in a drawer. Side door into sorting room into back room into stair, stair into landing, landing into rest. Each fold softens the one before it. No fold is tight. Nothing is pressed flat. The whole building becomes a stack of warm layers beneath the roof rain. If an image returns, it may be only moss on stone, or a lamp through rain glass, or the curved handle of a satchel, or the blue line between closed curtains. Any one of them is enough. The story does need the whole post office at once. It only needs one quiet object at a time, and then even that can become less distinct. Moss, paper, leather, wood, rain, lamp, blanket. The route folds back, and the night stays open in the gentlest way. After a while, there is almost only rain, not because the room is gone. The room is still here. The bed is under the sloped roof. The folded blankets are on the chair. The small table holds the cup. the napkin, the closed wooden box, and the lantern with its little amber flame. But the details no longer need to stand apart. The rain gathers them together. It moves over roof tiles, slips into the gutter, touches the outer wall, and falls somewhere beyond the window where the moss can receive it. The sound is layered and mild. Near, far, near again. It makes no pattern that has to be counted. It does not grow. It does not insist. It simply continues, a fabric of water around the post office. The cup on the table reflects the lantern less clearly now. The reflection trembles only because the flame is alive in its quiet way. The water itself is still. The napkin remains folded. The wooden box remains closed. The pillow remains soft at the edge of shadow. Downstairs, the sorting room is part of the rain sound too. Rain at its windows, rain on its roof. Rain darkening the stone step outside the side door. Rain making the moss brighter without asking anyone to look. The leather satchels do not move. The parcels do not shift. The blank envelopes do not open. The cubbies hold their little rooms of darkness. The post office is doing nothing now. Beautifully, completely nothing. Only holding warmth. Only holding paper. Only holding one small upstairs room where the rain has become softer than thought. If another image comes, it may drift in slowly and leave before it has a name. A green door, a wooden table, a folded blanket, a rain line on glass, then rain again, almost only rain. The side door is closed again, in its frame, but the warmth remains on both sides of it. Outside, rain beads on the green paint and darkens the moss along the step. Inside, the mat rests flat, the floorboards are dry, and the little shelf by the entry keeps its folded towels and clay cup. The door has become less a way in or out than a gentle edge between weather and rest. The lantern stays low. The door stays warm. The key returns to my pocket. I will be here tomorrow night. Sleep well. The words settle where the objects settle. Lantern low, door warm, key in the pocket rain. On the moss, paper in the cubbies, blankets upstairs. No more opening is needed. No more walking is needed. The Mosslight post office can remain as it is, a small building in a softened village lane, warm behind rain glass, with its parcels resting, its envelopes blank, its satchels empty, and its upstairs room tucked safely beneath the roof. The counter lamp will keep one amber circle for a while. The back room chair will keep its folded shawl. The courtyard basin will keep the rings of rain until they smooth out again. The stair rail will keep the memory of a hand passing lightly along it. The bed will keep its pillow, quilt, and closed curtains. If the story continues anywhere, it continues without needing to be followed. Perhaps a drop slides down the outer glass. Perhaps a fern leaf releases water into the courtyard basin. Perhaps the lamp near the counter grows a little smaller. So, all of it can happen quietly, whether noticed or not. The post office holds the night. The night holds the rain. The rain holds the mosslight. And the mosslight, soft and green around the warm windows, stays with the sleeping building until the story has become only a low lamp, a warm door, a pocketed key, and the slowest hush of rain.